This guy's the real deal. People call him the baby goat. After Tom Brady, this guy's next. Tom Brady retired today. Congrats, Tom Brady, for a great career. It's Patrick Mahomes time now.
Breaking news, Manscaped now sells beard products.
No way.
Yes way. They are once again revolutionizing men's grooming with the brand new Beard Hedger. Now you can finally use Manscaped products to make your drapes match your carpet by going to manscaped.com and using the code DORMDebate to get 20% off and free shipping.
It all starts with the Beard Hedger. This thing is a juggernaut of fixing faces. First off, this cordless trimmer has a rotary wheel that gives you 20 haircutting lengths, all with one guard, so no more messy drawers full of extra add-ons. While the Beard Hedger is made for any length, it has a special feature for all my bald-faced boys out there. The Hedger is a built-in advanced lift comb technology that allows for a smoother, complete shave.
With 20 lengths at just one stroke of the trimmer, it has never been so easy to look this dreamy. Your face is your first impression, and your beard is your most important accessory, so make sure you have the right tool for the job with the Beard Hedger. The company that helped reduce nicks and cuts on your special place has come to save your face.
So get 20% off and free shipping with the code DORMDebate at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code DORMDebate. Manscaped Beard Hedger. One stroke, one guard, 20 lengths.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dorm Debate podcast. Now, guys, the conference championships are over. We have our winners. Super Bowl is set. Caleb's Philadelphia Eagles, the only one standing of this group. We have the Giants, the Chargers, the Cowboys, and one remains. And Caleb, I do want to say this. Your Eagles are facing Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. But you already knew that because that's what your bracket said. I can't believe it. You got to stop being humble about this stuff.
You have to stop. Now it's done. You are a future teller of the playoff.
He has gotten one thing wrong in his whole bracket, and it was Bills-Bengals. You had Bills, but other than that, you had the Chiefs beating the Bengals. You had the 49ers losing to the Eagles. I mean, how in the heck do you do it?
I wish I could say I have formulas and algorithms, but
take that backboard down. Take the backboard. You have like a full diagram
there's gotta
behind
be some
you.
Super analysis.
Red.
A robot back there.
Cut to the beginning of the when the bracket was released. You asked me if I'm really confident. I'm like, not really.
The year before that, you're like, I'm not confident. And then the year before that, you're like, I'm not confident at all.
I am beyond happy the Eagles are in the Super Bowl. I know this isn't the Super Bowl podcast yet. But it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
Let's talk about the first game. So the first game was Eagles 49ers, but I want to talk about the Chiefs Bengals because Jonathan, if anyone watched last podcast, they knew you stood tall with the Chiefs. You stood tall with Patrick Mahomes. You stood by his side.
Yeah.
And it pays off. They win 23-20 in Arrowhead. Get that correct. It's Arrowhead.
Yes.
Not Burrowhead.
Not Burrowhead. Nope.
And why, Jonathan, why were people just disrespecting the Chiefs like that? Including me and John and Kay. Everyone was disrespecting the Chiefs. We were crowning the Bengals.
Yeah, look, I don't know what people have against Patrick Mahomes, but I've been telling you guys this for years. This guy's the real deal. People call him the baby goat. After Tom Brady, this guy's next. After Michael Jordan, LeBron was next. After Tom Brady, this is Patrick Mahomes' world. Okay, Tom Brady retired today. Congrats, Tom Brady, for a great career. It's Patrick Mahomes' time now. And he's the best football player in the world. Okay? He's the best football player in the world. I've been saying it for years. That's why I'm a fan. I'm just watching greatness. I like to witness greatness in our generation. And so people are, we're giving him all this crap about, oh, he lost to Burrow all this time. Guys, the regular season matters to a certain extent, but when you're on like a different level, when you're on this level, you start to think about the playoffs and start to think about, saving plays. And if you heard Tony Romo throughout the game, he kept on saying, "See, the Chiefs were saving that play. Then they didn't show it when they played them last time. See what I'm saying? It happens. Smart coaches do that when they know they're gonna make the playoffs. They do start doing stuff like that. And so the Bills beat the Chiefs this year. the Bengals beat the Chiefs this year in regular season. But I've been telling you guys, don't look at that. That doesn't matter. The Chiefs aren't pulling out their best cards yet. They're smart. They're waiting to the playoffs.
No, that's wrong though.
No, it's the truth.
You're saying they didn't try in the other games?
They tried, but they're not going to show their best plays. Like, it's not the Super Bowl. It's a regular season game.
But do you realize that the number one seed was on the line? This game wouldn't have been an Arrowhead if they didn't try in those other games.
Dude, it didn't matter what seed they would have got. They would have made it to the AFC Championship. They always make it. This is the 5th year, right? The 5th year that Patrick Mahomes has made it to the AFC Championship. The AFC Championship goes through Kansas City anytime. Every year it goes through Kansas City. You can guarantee that. Take it to the bank. No matter what seed they get, it goes through Kansas City, the AFC Championship. And so, yeah, they had to end up facing the Bengals, and they took care of business. And I've been telling you, last year, the Chiefs underestimated the Bengals. We all did. We all thought, oh, it's a fluke. They shouldn't have got this far, but Chiefs go ahead and take care of business. They were probably thinking that too. Oh, I can't wait to get the Super Bowl. Let's just take care of business and go. No. The Bengals are a lot better than than people thought. They're the real deal. Don't get me wrong. They're not scrubs. They're probably going to be here next year, maybe. Okay. But the Chiefs are on a different level. Patrick Mahomes specifically is on a different level. Okay. I knew the Bengals were going to lose based on the trash talk that they were talking all week.
Do you
They're
think
like
that
they won
was
the Super Bowl?
You think that was bad karma? Usually the universe works like that.
Yeah, I knew it was going to happen. The mayor saying, he asked for a paternity test because he said Joe Burrow is Patrick Mahomes' father. That was a bit of a stretch.
That was really bad, yeah.
Patrick Mahomes is humble. He doesn't brag and all that. He's quiet. He's humble. See what I'm saying? He's a humble guy. He's from Texas. He was born right.
Yeah, but his wife and his brother aren't very humble.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're his fans, and they're just very supportive.
Sometimes
they're very supportive, and look, that's how people are.
At least
parents,
he himself,
parents
I
are
have not seen. He could be much more out there than his play. Like you're saying, I agree with a bit what John said, and Jonathan, I see for how good he is, he could be much more cocky.
Yeah, and so that's how it is with parents and stuff in Texas. They're in the stands. They get annoying. They're like, yeah, that's right. They talk all that smack. The kids are usually quiet and usually do that. That's how it is in Texas. People get annoyed by parents and siblings and stuff because that's what they do in the stands. They all talk smack and stuff, and that's how it is. So that's what I think of them as, all typical Texas family.
But do you think it was a fair game? Like, did you think towards the end of the game you were like, okay, you thought the refs called everything good? Because I'm not saying that the refs are the reason the Bengals lost, because I think the Bengals made a lot of mistakes. But, I mean, there were, how do you make some of those calls? I know, even if they're the right calls, why do you make them, when the next play almost happens?
Yeah, look, I think, again, a lot of it was kind of annoying. But, again, kind of like Caleb always used to tell me, the media, everything they say is true. Like it's facts, but they choose what to show you. But everything is facts, right? Same with the penalties. Everything was a penalty, but it was kind of annoying.
Yeah, but you could call. You could. You're saying even if the Chiefs did something, you could call holding on the Chiefs' offensive line. It's not the wrong call.
They could have, but they probably missed. I mean, refs miss calls all the time. They probably missed that. Okay, they missed that, but that clear in today's day and age, they're trying to protect quarterbacks. Especially a quarterback that has an ankle injury, like the refs, the officials know it, and especially a quarterback that has an ankle injury and he pushes him on the sideline clearly that. They have to call that.
Yeah, that I think is fair. I mean, it could have went either way, but I'm not going to complain about that because it was stupid by the Bengals.
I think the home field advantage. What
about the third down play that they
that's just home field
completely
advantage.
took back and then called holding on the next play?
Yeah, that's the home field advantage, number one, because they blew the whistle. They tried to blow the whistle, but nobody could hear, and the refs was on the field.
No, but still, you can't. The ref tried to run on the field, and then it's like, oh, okay, let me back up, and then he went back. No, stop the play from happening.
He doesn't want to get. These are grown men. He don't want to get hurt, so he has to be very careful.
Keep blowing the whistle. They're right next to you. They'll hear it.
You can't. The crowd is pretty loud.
Okay, let's get air horns then. If the whistles don't work, get an air horn. All right.
Yeah, it was pretty loud. It was pretty loud, and so I think it was fine. It was fair. If you're really a good team, then you can't beat them again on third and 9. Then you shouldn't win anyway. If you're that good, stop them one more time. See what I'm saying? They're complaining. Oh, they got another play. If you can't stop them on another play, that means
I know. But these
you're saying
games,
they're better than me.
But
and
these games come down to one play. Like, if that play where the guy pushed Mahomes out of bounds didn't happen, Butker would have been kicking a 60-yarder. Could he have made it? Yeah. But that's the one play that, if he didn't do that, it could have went to overtime and Bengals could have won. These games come down to one play.
I don't know why does it always come down with Patrick Mahomes. He always gets this blame. They changed the overtime rules for people saying, if they got another opportunity, they would have scored and they would have kept going. No. Just accept it. The Chiefs beat you. The Chiefs beat the Bengals. Fair and square. Yes, there's a little tidbits here and there. You can call both ways. There's both ways. The refs aren't perfect. Okay, they make mistakes, but
they're perfect.
Overall, it was generally, I would think it was a fair game. I don't think anybody was cheated or it was rigged or anything. It was a fair game. The Chiefs ended up winning. Patrick Mahomes, he uses his mind. He used his mind and his guts to win the game. That's all it was. He knew somebody's gonna make a stupid mistake like that, and lo and behold, they made a stupid mistake as soon as it happened.
Yeah, he is smart.
The sidelines, like, all right, let's go.
It seemed a bit. I'm not saying he flopped, but the game is so fast. I think it was Osai who he put a hand on Mahomes as he was stepping out. I don't know if we can all agree on this. He shouldn't have put his hand on him. The game is so fast that like people were dogging him, and it stood out to me because I don't think that's the reason they lost. I mean, I say as a Bengals fan, if I was a Bengals fan, that the officiating was totally equal and not lopsided. I think it was a little lopsided. And it just stood out to me because the other week we were talking about how, like, specifically refs are kind of paid, and I think I used the word, like, civilian, not civilian salary, but, like, I think I compared it to, like, a senior software engineer. Like, they make a good amount of money and bonuses per game, but I'm like, for being the NFL referee, like, I thought they were a little underpaid, if you ask me.
Yeah.
And we talked about, like, the whole season there's been issues with officiating, as there are every year, to be fair. But I don't think that Osai penalty. I think the game is so fast. He put his hand on him. I don't think Mahomes flopped. I don't think it was that hard of a push. But they didn't lose because of that or the officiating. I mean, Joe Burrow's I've said this before. I don't think the interception should be on him. Because the passes were thrown well, they just bounced the wrong way. But the two picks are like, that's not officiating. That's just part of the game, you know.
And 5 sacks allowed. Like, their O-line has been the weak spot, and it just hasn't shown lately. And this time it showed.
Yeah, because the Chiefs, they did a little bit better this week. They did a little bit better.
Chris Jones showed up. And
you shut up.
Yeah.
Jared, you were saying?
Jared, sorry, yeah.
What?
You were saying something about the O-line? Well, like, they've been a problem the whole
year.
Oh,
no. Like what Jonathan was saying. Like, the O-line with the Chiefs, with the Ravens, like, they go up against a good D-line, and now you see the weaknesses exploited. And John and I were talking off podcast, but, like, the Bills came in, and they don't really have a great rush. They don't have a great pass rush. So, like, it does make sense that they could execute their game plan to get the ball out fast, or maybe they have time for a deep route with Chase or Higgins to be able to execute that against the Bills because they just don't have that elite rusher. You have Frank Clark, you have Chris Jones, who's probably going to be Defensive Player of the Year. That's a lot tougher to execute when your weak spot is so obvious, like, throughout the whole season.
And let me just break it down, simple as ABC. Number one, the Bengals had the better opportunity to win because Patrick Mahomes had an ankle injury, number one. He played through that, and yet still beat them on one leg. Number two, if Patrick Mahomes didn't have that random, weird turnover where the ball just came out of his hand, the Chiefs were probably going to beat him by 2 or 3 scores. Okay, because that happened, that allowed the Bengals to be in the game. But they were. If Burrow didn't
throw the 2 interceptions, they would.
Oh, that was clear. That was clear.
No, but if he didn't do it, they would have blown the Chiefs out.
That was clearly his fault. I mean, he had a bad game.
I mean, you could say all these things. The bottom line is, yes, the Chiefs played a better game. I think I still would have, if I could go back in time, I would still pick the Bengals to win because I don't think that the Chiefs could win that game without Tyreek Hill and with Mahomes with an ankle injury. I don't know how the Bengals let the Chiefs win the game. But for the Chiefs, that was impressive for them to do that. It is. And also, y'all notice Patrick Mahomes. People kept on saying, "Oh, he plays street ball. He has to scramble and all that." He stayed in the pocket, so that shows you. He didn't really stay in the pocket. No, he didn't. Can he continue the touchdown? Did the touchdown stay in the pocket? He stayed in the pocket 80% of the time. And so that begs that allows people to answer that question.
can he play until like he's 40 and stuff by just staying in the pocket and being smart using
But
the
the
line?
but the
He did
Chiefs
that.
have the Chiefs
He
have
did
no
that, and
run.
yet they
The
still
Chiefs
couldn't
have
beat.
no run game. That's the problem.
I mean, look, the Bengals,
Well,
everything was
Pacheco
there
was-
for them. Everything was there for them to take. The Chiefs,
Pacheco
Patrick Mahomes,
played
these are
hungry.
better. Now you can't say nobody can say
Pacheco
anything.
played well.
Yeah,
I was
Pacheco
gonna
played
say,
well.
I had people
34
come up to
yards,
me-
but he played good.
34
Yeah,
yards.
People come up to me and be like, Jonathan's right.
He
Pacheco,
sucked.
that's good.
Pacheco
No, but no,
sucked.
like he got receiving yards and stuff. He's good. He had an impact.
No, but he plays hungry. I think
hungry.
we'll talk about the Super Bowl, but like that's a
Yeah,
they-
but if
they
you
need,
don't
like,
get
a punch
yards,
from
then
you.
who cares?
Somebody said
Yeah.
somebody said he acts like this last time he'll get the ball every time he gets it. He acts
Zeke-
like
That's how
like
you,
last
as a
time.
running back,
Isn't-
you want to see
doesn't
though. 'cause
Zeke-
running backs don't always
Isn't
get the
Zeke
ball.
I love
hungry?
that.
I always see Zeke eating when he's on the field. So
yeah,
I
I
think
think
he's
this year-
hungry.
This,
And
It
he
should be
sucks.
Pacheco now.
this year's been looking lazy, but let me just end with this. Patrick Mahomes is the best player in the NFL. He's on the verge of becoming the GOAT. Okay, but let's just
Oh,
say
come
that.
on. Can you
He
chill?
is the
Please.
best player in the
Come on.
NFL. He's the best
Can you
player in the
chill?
NFL.
All right. How many
And
times
I'm
he's been a
just-
starter for 5 years, right?
Like
He's
Jared
made the
texted.
conference championship all 5.
5 years. Yes.
How many years has Burrow been the starter? 2. How many conference championships? 2.
All right.
He was start for 3.
No,
Yeah,
he
if-
tore his ACL. What do you want him to do?
Oh,
I
okay.
mean,
That's
that's-
part of being healthy.
That
being
counts.
healthy.
That's a
Now we're
starting
being
year.
nitpicky on
Mahomes
all
hasn't
of them.
Alright,
got
there's-
hurt.
alright,
You're
last
lucky
thought.
Mahomes hasn't got
last
hurt.
thought.
Like I
thought.
said, if you at this point you cannot compare any quarterback that's playing to Patrick Mahomes. He's on a different level.
Brady.
You should compare Burrow.
Well,
Yeah, he's retired. You
He's
can
not
compare
playing.
Compare Burrow and Allen. Fine, you can do that.
No,
Mahomes,
Allen
way
to
past their
Mahomes.
leagues now.
Allen and
Okay.
Mahomes.
No. Burrow and Allen. Do that. Fine, you can do that.
All right, what about
Mahomes-
Rodgers?
Mahomes
Wait,
this
Rodgers.
Mahomes this weekend showed that he's on a different level. This guy's on a different level, so nobody can say anything now. Know your place and know your role, you jabronis. That's from The Rock.
yeah, I what he was saying, when Travis Kelce was saying that, I was like, this is from something. I'm sure I've
WWE
heard of
Rock.
this before. But he got the pacing perfectly. Hats off to Travis Kelce. It was just frame
was
by
amazing.
frame. If you watch a comparison, the cadence, like, could be an actor. He really got it right. I did feel not to pile on because we got to talk about the Eagles a little bit, but I felt with all the trash talk about Burrowhead, not even from the mayor, but just in general, a little overcorrection, So I think this is the Chiefs bringing back down the rivalry, if you will. That when you talk that much smack coming from an Eagles fan, you got to have some grounding to it, So when all that talk about Burrowhead and stuff, I was like, oh, this isn't a good sign. Even though I did pick the Bengals for the game, not in the bracket at the beginning of the playoffs, but that was like one of my first signs of like, ooh. And we talked about the whole season, the offensive line for the Bengals being 3 out of 5 out, I think it was Kay Adams' show. She talked about how I think it was Chris Jones on the D line was like, he is one of the best pass rushers in all the league. But for like as many playoff games the Chiefs have been in, he had never had a sack in a playoff game. Yeah, and I think he finally showed up in this game. Not that he didn't before, but like he got his stat, So that's just a further testament to that breakdown for why the Bengals might have lost. Outside of, I think, some poor officiating on some levels, but
yeah. And last thing, sorry, I know I've spoken a lot, but I'm just excited. Last thing I'll say. In these big games like this, that's when you tell who the true legends are, who the
Right.
true
So
people
Burrow
on top
beat
are, who the
Mahomes.
true
Burrow
bigs are.
beat Mahomes last year in the AFC Championship.
Okay, again, everybody was underestimating them. This year, when you actually know, okay, they're actually legit. Mahomes knew he had to play, and he showed him play.
So Mahomes wasn't trying. So Mahomes wasn't trying last year.
Well, it almost went to overtime this year, so they're still pretty evenly matched, despite
was a
both
good
sides making mistakes.
Yeah,
like it's still gonna be
again-
Manning, Brady like style rivalry.
Yeah, it was pretty close. And again, that mistake, if the ball just didn't come out of his hand, it would have been a lot.
All right.
better.
So
But
what about
it was
when?
close.
What
But,
about Mahomes
like-
played? What about Mahomes when Mahomes played Brady in the AFC Championship? But did Mahomes know
Oh
how
yeah,
good
that was
Brady
great.
was?
That was great. Yeah, Brady.
Okay, and
showed
Brady
he was
won.
Top dog. Yes, Brady showed he was the GOAT. But that after Brady did that and also won the Super Bowl against Mahomes, he's like, okay, I'm the GOAT, and everyone's like, okay, he's the GOAT.
So you're saying
Mahomes is still
Mahomes can
leading.
be better than him?
In terms of accolades, if he wins the Super Bowl, if he wins more Super Bowls and gets more AFC championships and stuff, yeah, eventually he could. But right
He's got
now,
time.
yeah, he's got time. That's the thing. He's got time. He's achieved
It's
more
very
than
hard.
He's achieving
don't
more.
want
and
But he
he's
scrambles a
achieved more.
lot. You're hoping that he continues to have his athleticism in his old age.
Dude,
All right, we're moving on.
Again, last thing I'll say, if you look at the last game, that answered all those. And that answered all those questions. This guy was standing out of the pocket, making all these plays.
No,
Okay,
he
this
moved
guy's
out of
ready.
the pocket. Did you watch the game?
A few times he did, but his ankle, he can't do that much. His
On
ankle's
the
hurt.
on the
He's
touchdown,
on one leg.
on the Kelsey touchdown, was he?
Yeah,
in the
some of
pocket?
it. Some of
He
it.
was still walking a bit like a model, like a little bit of a strut to his
Yeah,
step.
some
You
of
know,
it-
he
some
always
of it-
talks about
He
in the
was
live stream,
fine.
doesn't-
They put the biggest drugs in him.
Dude, did you guys see? Oh my God, did you guys see the game before that? 49ers Eagles.
Wait, there was a game before that.
That was boring. I'm talking about.
I
the
was
Chiefs
I
and
was in
Bengals.
Philly for that. Not the stadium, but I was in a bar in Philly. It was a lot of fun.
Oh no way, that's crazy.
Let's talk
That
about
game
this.
Who
was
game.
thought there was
That
another
game was
game
so
going
bad. I
on?
forgot
Yeah,
about
we're
it.
talking a lot about Mahomes. He's
Greatest of all
Hurts
time.
is a great
Well,
quarterback too.
About to be the greatest of all time.
Oh,
Baby
come
goat.
on.
Let's just call
About
it-
to be.
fine,
He's
let's just call it
got
baby
got
goat.
another
All
10,
right, sorry.
15
Okay.
years to at least try.
Okay, fine, that's true. He's the best player right now in the NFL.
I could agree with that.
Individual stats, he's gonna shatter all of them, in my opinion, except for maybe Super Bowl. Super Bowls is
Super
such
Bowls
a
he won't.
team
He's not going to
thing.
win
That's
that.
tough. Yeah.
Yeah,
We don't
like
know.
Tom
No,
Brady
he
is like
won't.
right place, right time,
Place, exactly.
lucky.
Yes,
Well,
exactly.
it's like when Brady was still on the. I mean, not that we're that old, but like I remember when Aikman was the most with 4. Right, once he got 5, that's like okay, he has the most rings. And then we had this discussion about like having the most rings that make you the best quarterback, and talent versus ability, and all these other things. And then for me, once he beat Mahomes, the up and coming young goat, if you will, in your words,
Yeah.
Jonathan, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
this is ending debate. I'm not a personal fan of the man, of the player, if you will. I don't know the man personally. I'm glad
Brady?
the player is out of here. I'm sick of him being a threat to every other team. I think I've mentioned. I think he's grown on me. Like I think we'll see what kind of person he is as like, people get to know Gronk and Eli and Peyton, like all these legends who retire, and then you start to see them more their human side than the jersey side.
Doesn't he have a Fox deal or something? Or
Yeah, he's about to get paid $500 million. Or
Yeah,
something.
Yeah, I saw this.
So that'll be
we'll
fun.
Yeah,
That'll be fun. He might call Super Bowls, and then he still gets to go to Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could
Get
you
him.
imagine? Oh, him and wait, who's it with? Fox?
Yeah.
Okay. dang
Fox
it.
or CBS.
Romo
That'll be
Yeah,
great.
there's been talk about with
Okay, dang
Olsen
it.
too, like taking Olsen's job, which sucks because I think I've read headlines about Olsen doing such a good job.
Yeah, I think
I
he's,
like
Olsen.
I think he's good.
His
We'll
voice
see.
is a little
We'll
weird.
see what
but-
happens.
Yeah. Oh.
Isn't it a little high?
Yeah, it is a little high. Yeah, I noticed that.
I'm not gonna judge.
I'm kidding. No.
Let's
All
move
right.
on to the next.
What was your
game.
guys' thoughts very quickly on the Eagles? Because I'll start off as an Eagles fan. I was at McGillen's bar in Philadelphia. It was extremely hype. A lot of fun to be and experience that. But I'll always say, as I said before, I was expecting a brawl, and I want the Eagles to win, but I'm not the kind of person or fan to cheer when there's injuries. So it's a competitive side of me is like, if I beat you, I want to beat you at your best. So a win's a win. I do genuinely think that even with Purdy at full health, I do think for the reasons I said last podcast, the Eagles still would have won. And I think you saw elements of why that would have happened unfold during the game. But it does suck it's not a true compare. The 49ers did not have a throwing quarterback after Josh Johnson went out. So it's like it is part of the game. It makes me think that we said this before, but and it's tough because I've said this before, but to invest in a really good backup is true, but they're on like their 5th starter. So
Yeah.
Josh Johnson might be the most passed around quarterback I've ever seen. He's on
on 12
that's
13
his,
teams.
yeah, it's his 13th team. Like this guy doesn't even know how to
But he
catch a
still
snap.
sucks.
He's
Yeah, I mean-
terrible.
Well,
like
I mean,
it's just-
I want to
That might be
retract
the
my
worst
statement.
quarterback
he's
I've
not
ever
te-
seen.
He's not terrible. It's just like, again, you have to look at the circumstances. This is the NFC
He's the 4th
Championship.
string on the NFC Championship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you remember when I was like, oh, you could throw any quarterback in and they'll be successful in the 49ers offense? I stand corrected
Well, they went
because
through 3 people.
that was awful. And so you can't have any quarterback, but
McCaffrey played really well. Like, they had a
someone
bunch of
who's
star
competent.
players. Eagles offensive line though, I'm curious what you guys thought, but Bosa had that one almost safety and is a threat anywhere.
Okay, all
but,
I'm saying,
mean,
I know what
Johnson,
I know what
Kelsey.
Jonathan is gonna say.
yeah,
Because Jonathan, you're gonna say, "Oh, they would have lost that game anyway." Look,
yeah.
when the starting quarterback gets hurt, the whole team morale goes down. Nobody cares anymore. Everybody just lets everything go. They
You're
let
completely
everything
right.
up. So the Eagles won this game. I agree with you, Caleb. I picked the Eagles to win. I thought they would win anyway. But I'm just saying, what if they go to the Super Bowl and Mahomes gets hurt and the Eagles win? That might be the luckiest season. Not to say the Eagles didn't deserve it, but that might be the easiest season of all time.
You know
I
what
mean, they
Eagles
did-
fans are gonna say?
I mean,
We
they
don't
did
care.
have.
We don't care.
I mean,
Well, let me
no,
tell you-
it's still you still won a Super Bowl, but still,
Stephen
it's,
A.
it's
Well-
you did have a statistically easy schedule this year, as did the rest of the NFC East. You
Job's
played the
not done.
Giants in the first round of your first playoff game. We're not that good. We're good, but we're not that good. Then you played
Okay.
Josh
whoa,
Johnson,
whoa.
and now
Whoa,
you're gonna
whoa,
play
whoa,
if
whoa, whoa, whoa,
Mahomes
whoa,
gets
whoa.
hurt. Like
Everyone was talking up the Giants,
Well,
and
to
then you
address
guys
that-
Giants
get
are a good
stomped.
team.
everybody's
I
gonna
also
talk
said
up
not
the
to-
other team.
Yeah,
Everybody
people,
wants the
people here,
underdog.
people. I heard
No,
like in
hey,
the Bay Area,
any
people
job's
here are
not done.
saying, yeah, in the Bay
Eagles
Area,
are
people
in
are
this-
saying the
getting-
Giants aren't good and stuff.
Getting to the Super Bowl was not the goal. So we got to earn it, and that's what I always say.
I
you know?
finally want to see Hurts have his back up against the wall and Mahomes have
Look,
his back
I
up
agree.
against the wall.
Well,
I
John,
agree. I want to see Jalen Hurts, and I think many Eagles fans want to see, like, can he get a game-winning drive, or can he, back against the wall,
Yeah.
down 7, down 14, command a drive. Like, everyone wants to see that. It's great,
Yeah.
but at the same time, dude, they're stomping these teams. Like, it's not even close. So, like, if they stomp the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes
There's no
there,
way you can't blow
and
out
they
Mahomes.
But
okay, so let's just say they
even if
stomp them like
do-
35-7.
No,
It's
job's
like,
not done. I can't talk
Well,
like
the
this.
thing
We're
is-
we're not. This isn't a Super Bowl talk, right?
Well,
but like
this is a-
what I'm saying is, like, because they're blowing out these teams, there's no respect given to the Eagles, and there's no respect given to Sirianni and the coaching staff. Like, people
should
are
give
saying people have more respect for Dayball than Sirianni. Sirianni's in the
yeah.
Super Bowl.
He should get respect now. He should get respect now. But John, let me just to address that. I wouldn't call what happened to the Eagles luck. And if that happens
What
against
would
the
you
Chiefs,
call it?
I wouldn't call that luck.
What is it?
That's great. That's great execution by the Eagles. Okay, you know how he got hurt? He didn't get hurt by just holding the ball and just falling down.
Hassan
The
Reddick.
Eagles pass rush.
Oh,
can
so
they
you're
get him?
calling the Eagles
hurt.
vicious. You're calling the Eagles that they meant to hurt
No,
him?
they got to him. If you don't want him to get hurt, don't let him get to the quarterback. Simple as that. And they let him get to the quarterback. That was a great sack. And he didn't mean to hurt him. He just
It
tried
wasn't
to get
a dirty.
him. It wasn't
I mean,
dirty.
I'm an
He
Eagles
just tried to
fan.
sack him.
It wasn't a dirty play. It was just that they say that injury specifically, it happens when you're winding up and get interrupted. Like there's so
It happens
much,
all the time. Yeah.
like there's so much tension in that ligament that it's like a rubber band interrupting it. Like it wasn't. If you fall on it weird, like the way Mahomes got injured with his ankle wasn't. I don't think it was intentional, but that was more suspect. If you were to have a bar of that stuff, it was more
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
But the
But
Eagles one,
I
it's
don't
like
know.
Hassan Reddick got a hand on the ball. It was like
Yeah,
you
it
know,
was
it's
a,
like-
it was a
yeah.
great play, but Caleb, I don't know. Don't you think that this is a little like, as opposed to the last time when Foles won? Like, don't you feel like this is just a little like? I mean, the second half of the two playoff games, you have no stress. Basically, you're just like sitting there watching, and you're like, "Yeah, we won."
Caleb loves
That's
it.
how dominant they are.
I know you
I
love
love
it,
it,
but
but
don't you feel like
we've
it's a
talked-
little like, wait, I mean, we're here. Like that seems weird.
I hear what you're saying about the easiest schedule. I want the Eagle. The job is not done, so getting there is not the goal. And the season is too long for luck to be a relentless part of it. Even with
Yeah.
Brady having a lot of luck and a lot of his wins, like there is elements of greatness in all those. I gotta concede to that. Part of me does think, I'm not to dodge your question, but more just something I want to get out real quick is. The Eagles won with Nick Foles, and he was a backup. So going into this game, I did not give in, at least for me, on this show. I was like, I'm not giving any disrespect to Brock Purdy. Like if we've done it with a backup, like he can definitely do it. He's playing well. But yeah, I wanted to see a brawl, but I also say Eagles are also really smart. They're one of the best teams at if you give them a lead entering the second half, they have good fundamental football. I've said this a few times that they have one of the highest rates of just running the ball in the third and fourth quarter if they have a lead. So many other teams get a lead and they're just so committed to the pass that like they miss like the clock. Like there's a couple times in the third and fourth where they had a few 1-yard rushes, but that's fine when you take 40 seconds off the clock every time. Eagles are one of the best at just executing that and still getting conversions. And part of those conversions did come from just the 49ers creating penalties, which, like you said, from the morale of the 49ers, this maybe mental, frustration. You did see a little bit of that. But the 49ers are a good team. I didn't dog Brock Purdy. I mean, I'm not saying the Eagles, I think, are so like job's not done. So none of this will matter if we don't win it. But honestly, they're one of the most well-rounded, and not just well-rounded, but high executing at every level and well-rounded teams I've ever seen. And so that's where it's like it's very hard to go up against teams in the NFL, even a bad team. It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
So for them to be so consistently, it's not just ease of schedule when they beat top contenders like the Vikings and Lions and Giants who are on the ascendancy. It's like maybe it's diluted because we're executing so well. Now again, I'm not. All this doesn't, not that it doesn't matter. It's a great credit, but job's not done. So I think there's a little bit of taken away because we didn't see. For personally, I don't cheer for when players get hurt. I do feel it's a little different. Like when the Giants were playing the Eagles, there was a bit more open talk about the Giants. I mean, maybe not amongst everyone, not amongst you guys, but it was like people were openly talking about Hurts' shoulder being an issue, and like the line has to get to him, like implying like have him aggravated. So the Eagles were not playing that way for Purdy, but it's part of the game, But I'm like, why is this more emphasized with Hurts, his shoulder being an issue? So I mean, we'll see how the game turns out for the Super Bowl, but I'm always like, I want to see the best against the best at full health, and that's part of the game. Is that it isn't. I do think the 49ers, because they had Purdy for so long, maybe in hindsight, which is crazy because it would have been their fifth string, maybe they should have signed a better backup. Like we have,
A backup.
backup. It's like they had him for Purdy for like what 6-7 weeks, and he was you didn't have anyone other than Johnson, and then went down to McCaffrey. So like that's almost like when the Eagles lost against I think Washington, they went and signed two rush defenders. So like our rush game got much better, much more depth. But that's something as a GM of the 49ers you might want to consider. Like I know it's crazy, but sign some veteran that might give you a higher floor at least for for 1 year in hindsight.
Yeah.
Because they had Purdy for long enough. He was playing great, but like it's crazy to think about, but in hindsight this is something that you think about as a 49. It does suck if I'm a 49ers fan, but I do think the Eagles would have won anyway. I think they earned it. It was, still in range up until the half.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Please follow us over on Instagram and on TikTok at Dorm Debate Podcast. And as always, we will see you guys next week.